Hey brother. Guys, it is Good Dinosaur week and Thanksgiving, and oh my gosh, I have so much to be thankful for this year. I mean, I got married, I bought a house, I just started a new career, I got to visit Pixar, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. I mean, what is going on? So since it's the Good Dinosaur week, I've been rewatching some of the international trailers because, pro tip, they show a lot of extra footage there. And it occurred to me that the title had been translated into different things for different countries, and that when you translated it back into English, it might not still be The Good Dinosaur. Well, I did some research and it turns out I was right. And long story short, I might have gotten a little bit carried away and translated every Pixar film title from every country it's been translated into back into English. And today we're gonna go over some of my favorites. Hey, brother! You know, sometimes without the glasses, I think the facial hair looks even better. Or as my wife likes to say, Up first, The Good Dinosaur. I know the title change might not seem like such a big deal because really it's the same movie, but it is interesting how the title can sometimes affect your interpretation of the movie. For example, in most countries it does translate back into The Good Dinosaur, but in Germany it was Arlo and Spot, and in France it was The Trip of Arlo. But by far the most common variation was, instead of The Good Dinosaur, A Great Dinosaur. That might sound small, but I think it makes a big difference. Saying A instead of the makes Arlo seem less important, like he's just one example of many great dinosaurs. And it begs the question, is the good dinosaur not even as good as just any given great dinosaur? Inside Out, on the other hand, is all over the place, which I kind of get because when you hear the American title, you don't necessarily know what the movie is about. But with that in mind, I guess some mystery is appreciated. China, looking at you. No idea how to pronounce that, but it translates to the great team inside the head. Oh, I wonder what that's about. But on the other end of that, you could also be too mysterious, like Russia and Vietnam, who ended up with Jigsaw and the puzzle emotions, respectively. Was there even anything about puzzles in the movie? Speaking of puzzles, here's the Taiwanese title. Can I at least get it in English? I promise I know how to read. Translates to fantastic emotional turmoil. Fun name, and how I feel about the spelling. A Bug's Life had quite a few interesting ones, but none more so than France with 1001 pâtés? Pats? This is why I gotta see in French. Either way, it translates to 1001 feet, which is a clever title because there's so many feet in the film, but interestingly, 1001 is not divisible by 6, which is the number of legs insects have. But 1002 is. The only problem is I don't really remember a character missing a limb, and if there was one, that it was so important that the movie should be named after it. Monsters, Inc. was pretty much the same everywhere, but a few stood out, like Slovenia, which was Monsters Out of the Closet, which kind of sounds like an attack on the gay community. But most intriguing was the other US working title, Hidden City, which would almost suggest that instead of traveling through time or to a different world, that the monsters are just here on Earth, in a hidden city. Finding Nemo has a name in it, so most countries were able to just substitute in their word for finding. But I love what Poland did by just adding a question mark to the end, so it's Finding Nemo? Makes the outcome a little less certain. But easily the best translation was the Hogwarts translation, which was something for the Hufflepuffs to do. Or as the Hufflepuffs like to call it, Clownfish Safari! Technically, The Incredibles is a family name. Oh, kinda. So you shouldn't have to change it, and most countries didn't. But Portugal felt the need to add the words Os Superheroes after The Incredibles, so it's The Incredibles, Superheroes. And Finland was taking no chances and just called it I swear I can read. In any case, just Superheroes. Or of course, as the Hufflepuffs called The Incredibles, Cedric Diggory and that one Quidditch match against Gryffindor. Cars, you would think would be pretty straightforward, but Russia and Ukraine used the same translation, you know, whatever these letters are, which translates to Wheelbarrows! That's a sequel I hope we never see here. Up! A simple 2-letter title I thought would be easy, but was actually all over the place. Germany called it Above, most Spanish-speaking countries called it Up, A High Adventure, and Croatia, interestingly, called it Heaven, which sort of reinforces the theory that this is Carl's journey to heaven. But the winner of this round was definitely Japan, with Grandpa Carl's Flying House. Hello Japan. One of the main reasons this movie is so emotionally taxing on everyone is because Carl and Ellie can't have kids and therefore grandkids. Duh. Ratatouille was an interesting case because almost the point of the title and the movie, to an extent, is that it is that particular French word. It's not an American word to begin with, so it doesn't matter what you're translating it to. Everyone just has to pick that exact French word. That's the point. Although Vietnam still ended up with Mouse Chef. He's a rat, Vietnam. And then of course there was the Hogwarts title, Wormtail Learns to Cook. Nothing changed for Wally because it's a made-up word, so everyone just used the made-up word. And that leaves us with brave. Most countries use just brave or some synonym of the word, like courage or indomitable. But then there's Kazakhstan, and this might be the weirdest one on the list. They translated to large hospitalization. All I can think is that every single bear sighting ever in Kazakhstan has ended in hospitalization, and so the two words have just become synonymous. And that pretty much sums it up, except for the Hogwarts translation of brave. Another Weasley! Guys, thanks for watching. I'm so excited for The Good Dinosaur. You need to make sure you hit that subscribe button because next week we should be diving into how The Good Dinosaur fits into the Pixar theory, or Pixar continuum, whatever you want to call it. If you're not up to date on the Pixar theory, you can click the little eye in the corner to watch how the last Pixar film, Inside Out, fits into the mix. Now my question for you and everyone else is, do you know of any other funny movie title translations? And of course, what are you thankful for? That's it for me, but I will see you in another life, brother.
These socks are amazing!
I know what you're thinking, and the funny thing is, I did do the translations for Toy Story, but for some reason, they were not in my script. But the good news is that I put a full list of all the translations for every country into a Google document. You can click on that link in the description and check that out, which does include Toy Story, but not any of the sequels, because they were all pretty much just like 2 afterwards.